Yeah. I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won. Yeah. I hope my team they won. Yeah. Man, I hope my team they won. I hope my team they won. Yeah. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavil, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with this hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington Charles Bishop. Welcome to episode 770 of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab radio show and podcast, the show that's covering the sporting HBCU dash for all things HBCU sports, for institutions large and small, from the NAIA to the NCAA. We share insights and information on the HBCU sports culture and HBCU athletic aesthetics to facilitate the story of HBCU athletic programs in the business of HBCU sports. To be frank, we just call it HBCU sports pedagogy. I'm your host, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, along with my co-host, Mike Washington Charles Bishop, and we're filming from our home studios, sending a signal live to KSWH 1230 AM studios with the Texas Radio Hall of Famer, multi-Hall of Famer, I should say, beautiful home of Texas Southern, and a beautiful home of Texas Southern University from Houston, Texas. With that being said, we have none other than Charles Bishop with us, Wilton Jackson II, and A.D. Drew. With that being said, Charles, how are you doing today?
Doing well. Very excited. I cannot wait to talk Winston-Salem basketball. I don't want to be on the receiving end of Winston-Salem.
That might be a good idea. Just make sure if you're going to talk about them, I would say something positive.
Real positive.
Unless you want some updates there. Shout out to Stephen Gaither doing that in a really good fashion of humor, as they would say, that providing some laughter out there where it's needed in the world. With that being said, A.D. Drew, how are you doing today?
The butt of that joke. So appropriate that you came to me on that. You ran right, Steve. Yeah, you ran. You ran right, but hope y'all had a chance to watch the Morehouse Howard game yesterday. You know, all we do is catch bodies on Division I players. You know, we had one that caught him a couple bodies yesterday. We lost the game, but the body count was significant for a Division II school. That's all I want to say.
You surely made the top five on anybody's countdown in terms of the plays of the day. You and the Morehouse Maroon Tigers were on that list. With that being said, Wilton, how are you doing today?
Doc, I'm doing good. I mean, you know, some good games this past weekend, some good games yesterday in the SWAC. I know today is more about the mid-major, but I mean, man, like we've been talking, you know, Martin Luther King weekend. This is the time where things start to get serious now. So I'm excited to talk about it and break it down.
Yeah, Wilton has moved from adjunct to assistant professor, basically professor in the practice, as they would say in some parts of the universe, getting it done. Shout out to Wilton over there at Jackson State University. I love in the classroom teaching these young minds what it means to be a media columnist, journalist. How's it coming this far? Have you given out any assignment yet?
So this week is the first real week of like classes. So they'll figure out like how I am as a professor this week. That'll determine whether or not they want to stay in the class or drop the class.
Until they see the syllabus. That's what's gonna give them.
They've had a week to see the syllabus. So if they ain't ran off yet, then they'll be okay.
I like it. That's right. That's what you
got a chance to see Wilton work this weekend, Doc. So I was enjoying it as a fan this weekend. Wilton was across over at the media desk working. So
Did you see him? You didn't interrupt him, give him the funny faces or nothing?
He was all business over there. All business over there.
I've seen him when he gets in that work mode. Man, leave him alone.
Yeah.
With that being said, today's episode of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab is sponsored by THG Agency LLC. THG Agency is a company that provides sporting and educational consulting and data analytics. With that being said, let's jump right into it. First, in memoriam, honoring the life and legacy of James Sweet this comes out of MEACsports.com. Norfolk State University Athletic mourns the passing of James Sweet, a monumental figure in collegiate women's basketball, one of the most influential coaches in Norfolk State history. Sweet's extraordinary career spanned decades, leaving an indelible mark on Spartans, sports, and countless student athletes, as I like to say, college athletes that he guided. Coach Sweet devoted 19 remarkable seasons leading the Norfolk women's basketball program and 26 seasons overall as a head coach at the collegiate level before retirement following the 2006 and 2007 season. During his tenure with the Spartans, Sweet established a standard of excellence that reshaped NSU women's basketball 346 and 218 overall record as a head coach of Norfolk State, marking the most wins program history. Just wanted to say a shout out to him and all the fans and players that celebrated him and want to celebrate his life. We'll give a moment of silence before we move forward. With that being said, I'm going to go to you, Charles, and see what direction you want to go in terms of your news of the day. We had a big, busy weekend, so it'll be interesting to see what's on your mind for HBCU sports this week.
Busy weekend, but let's take a look at some weekly honors, and we'll start over in the SIAC Women's Basketball Weekly Honors as the Southern Intercollegiate Athletic Conference announces women's basketball players for the week of January 20th. For their impressive performances this past week, and Michaela Reeves from Miles and Kalyana Cage from Central State. They were recognized Player of the Week. Michaela Reeves from Miles, the senior forward from Columbus, Mississippi. She averaged a point a minute and 2 big wins for the Lady Bears this past week in 2 games. She put up 17.5 points on 74% shooting, 17 of 23 from the field, 9 rebounds and 1.5 blocks in 17.5 minutes per game. In the win over Tuskegee, she scored a career-high 21 points on 10 of 13 shooting, which was also a career high. She also added 8 rebounds. In Miles' victory over Albany State, the senior had a second career double-double, 14 points and 10 rebounds, and also added 2 block shots. Newcomer of the week is Kalyana Cage from Central State, the sophomore from Washington, D.C., delivered an outstanding week for the Marauders, playing a key role in 2 victories that marked the team's first winning streak of the season. Her all-around impact was on full display in the win over Lemoyne Owen, where she posted 17 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and 4 steals. She also followed that performance with a clutch showing in a rivalry win over Kentucky State, scoring 20 points while shooting an efficient 5 of 8 from three-point range, also adding 3 assists and 2 rebounds and a steal. So those were your players of the week: Kalyana Cage from Central State, as well as Michaela Reeves from Miles College. So those are your SIAC women's players of the week.
Good stuff. Shout out to Blue Jacket. Great points in terms of the point spread. I agree with you. Didn't expect that. But there were some women, some ladies putting in some work. Shout out to the SIAC women's basketball honors player of the week in that case. Good stuff there, Charles. Let me go to you, AD. What's on your mind for some news this week?
You know, we got to be careful when we say point spreads, Dr. Cavil, with stuff that came out last week around college basketball. Just got to warn everybody.
You know me. Hey, I'm a mathematician, so I can't do the tables, the craps, all that stuff. I always look at the calculations and by the end it's no longer fun. But to your point, if you're a college athlete, just say no.
Just say no.
Just say no. Is that? Nancy Reagan, just say no.
Way back. Go ahead.
We're way back on that, yeah.
Yeah. And Dr. Cavil, I really have 2 stories that I want to get into. But the one that's pulling me is the it can only happen in Atlanta story that you have on your sheet, Dr. Cavil.
Right.
That is Morris Brown's president reinstated 1 week after being fired. And this comes from HBCU Sports. Uh, the Kevin E. James era has resumed at Morris Brown, according to a report from Fox 5 right here in Atlanta. Sam Daniel, James has been reinstated as the school's president after being fired last Monday, January 12th. Morris Brown updated its official leadership directory to list James as president, though officials have not yet released a formal statement explaining the sudden reversal. James released a statement himself last Monday saying his firing was without cause and listed Morris Brown's numerous achievements during his 7 years as president. Some of those achievements include Morris Brown College regaining accreditation from SACS, that's the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools, after nearly 20 years after the embezzlement scandal that ruined the college's reputation. So I'm going to leave it right there.
So somebody accidentally sent him a letter. Is that what we're saying now? Somebody accidentally sent a letter and they pulled it back and said, we didn't mean that. Not after all this noise is out here. We thought you were quietly in the night. We're not ready for that smoke. With that being said, and oh, wow, that's amazing.
Only in Atlanta.
Yep, for real. Only in Atlanta. Shout out to the president. I hope it works out. More importantly, to the institution. In terms of that, in all seriousness, much support for Morris Brown as it continues to build. That was with, as they said, accreditation coming up. So I think in a lot of ways it's a pretty smart move. I'm not sure why they didn't think that through, it seems, as much as they could. With that being said, Wilton, what's on your mind?
So I'm going to give the CIAA Players of the Week. We're going to start with Niall Reeves from Livingstone. Reeves delivered a high-impact 3-game week as Livingstone's premier offensive engine and perimeter playmaker, guiding the Blue Bears through a demanding stretch that included matchups against Elizabeth City State, Augusta University, and Claflin. The junior guard averaged 17.3 points per game, totaling 52 points while adding 17 rebounds, 13 assists, and 6 steals. The defensive player of the week was Mahogany Collins from Shaw. Collins delivered one of the most dominant defensive weeks of the season, anchoring Shaw's interior defense with elite shot blocking and rebounding across 2 CIAA contests. The senior center averaged 9.5 rebounds and 8.5 blocks per game, consistently altering shots and disrupting offensive rhythm in the paint. The rookie of the week is Brianna Roof from Winston-Salem State. Roof continued her strong freshman campaign with a high-activity defensive week that fueled Winston-Salem State's backcourt and helped the Rams produce a 2-0 record. The freshman point guard totaled 19 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, and 9 steals while shooting 5 for 11 from the field and a perfect 8 for 8 at the free throw line. And those are your players of the week.
CIAA ladies putting in some work. Shout out to them too. Should be fascinating as we getting more clear pictures. Let me give this player of the week, and then we'll see if AD may have time to sneak that back in. The MEAC Weekly Women's Basketball honors include Norfolk State guard Debria Clark was named MEAC Player of the Week, presented Wells Fargo. Maryland Eastern Shore putting in work for sure. Forward Kalia Perry was named Rookie of the Week, while fellow Hawk Ashante Lynch earned Defensive Player of the Week honors. Clark, the guard, 5'7", junior, scored 30 points, setting a new Norfolk State single-game record with 9 3-pointers and added 11 rebounds, 5 assists, 4 steals, and 2 blocks in the 85-41 win over South Carolina State. Perry contributed 11 points, adding 6 rebounds, 2 blocks, and an assist in a 68-61 win over Coppin State. Perry's a freshman, 6-foot forward. And then Lynch, guard, 5'9", senior, registered 15 rebounds, 2 steals, 28 points in the 68-61 win over Coppin State as well to help Hawks remain undefeated in conference play. Go Hawks, putting in some work. Drew, you stunned us with the last one. I don't know if you're going to go this deep again, but we'll give you a chance to see if you can outdo yourself. You said you wanted some other news that you had time. Go ahead and put it out.
Well, I'm gonna hold that one since we've gotten the other three conferences in. They may just go ahead and make it complete and get the
Appreciate it.
SIA
Good deal.
with their players of the week. Michaela Reeves of Miles and Kaliana Cage of Central State. Player of the week was Michaela Reeves of Miles. The Reeves averaged a .8 minute and two big wins for the Lady Bears this week. In two games, she put up 17.5 points on 74% shooting. That's 17 of 23, 9 rebounds, 1.5 blocks, and 17.5 minutes per game. Against Tuskegee, she scored a career high 21 on 10 of 13 shooting from the field and added 8 rebounds in the victory over Albany State. She had 14 points and 10 rebounds and blocked 2 shots. For those of y'all who don't realize, that's a double-double right there.
Double machine. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Kaliana Cage of Central State was named the newcomer of the week. She delivered an outstanding week for the Marauders, playing a key role in 2 victories that marked the team's first winning streak of the season. Her all-around impact was on full display in the win over Lemoyne Owen, where she posted 17 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 4 steals, and a partridge in a pear tree. And she followed that performance with clutch shooting in a win over rival Kentucky State, scoring 20 points on 5 of 8 shooting from behind the arc, adding 3 assists, 2 rebounds, and a steal.
Nice.
So
SIC gets shout out twice. You know you.
I was just about to say, didn't y'all read them? I'm like, hold up, am I tweaking?
I thought I heard swag.
No, it's SIC. Swag, they don't get this stuff out there early. So he did SIC. You was such a groove. I didn't want you flowing out. Women deserve the nicest,
I was like, okay, well, we just doing it twice today.
You could have went with my other story then.
Honestly, Drew, I thought you was gonna talk about the Me X Swag challenge.
I could have. That wasn't even my story that I was gonna go with, but
I don't even want to go there. That man does so much.
Yeah.
I get it. I know it's news, and for some people, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
For us, I'm not going to waste time on somebody that blogs something on not even the Twitter. I mean, it's his own truth social. What is truth lies?
Oh,
no, I'm not doing this.
I was just gonna make sure everybody knew.
So let's take our first break before
Howard, Alabama A&M. That was the only thing that I was gonna say about that. I wasn't even going to that other part, Dr. Cavil. Howard, Alabama A&M, August 29th, 7:30, ESPN, ABC.
I'd have thrown us all off with the bathwater. BXWay challenge. I just make sure we won't do nothing about this other stuff. So Howard, Alabama, what you got, AD Drew?
No, just Howard, Alabama A&M. Press release went out today, just officially kicking off the new college football season. Howard versus Alabama A&M as the BXWAC challenge begins, fellas. It's 3rd decade. I don't know if we realize that it begins its 3rd decade. It's 2nd generation.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. Pretty cool. It'll be fascinating. Should be a good matchup, interesting matchup. New coach, 2nd-year coach. Both teams are looking to change the needle in direction. So somebody's going to get an early win, and it'll be interesting to see just how formidable the teams are with that early weekend, with a lot of other teams playing now with that early weekend, week 0. But all eyes won't be there, but a lot of eyes will be. That being said, let's take our first break, come back on the other side, get back into basketball, and talk a little bit about the mid-major poll rankings and see what is happening in week number 3. We'll be right back after this break. This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavil of Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
Looking for the ultimate cultural experience of 2026? The Zora Outdoor Festival of the Arts is where you need to be. From January 30th to February 1st, Eatonville, Florida will come alive with incredible live performances. Immerse yourself in interactive art. Shop from over 80 vendors. Take a journey through history with a new virtual tour app. And enjoy family-friendly STEM activities. Plus, don't miss the unforgettable R&B tribute to the legends. This is more than a festival. It's a celebration of Eatonville's rich cultural heritage. Visit zorafestival.org for tickets.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
Compress the analytic data with the hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Let's get right into it. Let's pull up, if we would, the mid-major division women's poll ranking in week number 3. See what the gentlemen think about this. We do have a team dropping out, and we'll tell you a little bit about that coming this way in Texas. NIA, Paul Quinn Lady Tigers, 12-4, 7-1. Took a tough loss this weekend, which pushed them out of the top poll ranking. But the good news is when you look at receiving votes, they're right there in the mix. In fact, they're at the top of the receiving votes as Paul Quinn, the Lady Tigers, sit again at 12-4, 7-1. They have 38 points in terms of that first team out, if you would. Behind them is also out of the HBCU AC, which is Wiley. The Lady Wildcats sit at 10-4, 5-2. Then we go to the SIAC, Albany State Lady Golden Rams. You heard a little bit about stellar play there from the Lady Golden Rams. They sit at 10-4, 9-4, but they are outside of the top 5. Oakwood Ambassadors jump into receiving some votes, if you would, sitting at 11-5, 7-0. Then you have the Virginia State Lady Trojans sit at 12-4, 4-2. That is out of the CIAA. Oakwood, for those that do not realize that they're in the HBCU AC. So good basketball being played there. But let's get into the superlatives, the top 5, and see what's taking place there. There is one change, mainly in terms of a team jumping in, which would be Fayetteville State. The Lady Broncos are getting it going. They sit at 12-2, 6-1, playing some really good basketball, particularly at this time. Let's move up to number 4, where we leave the CIAA and go into the SIAC. With the Edward Water Lady Tigers sit at 12-4, 10-3 with 42 points. They remain in the 4th spot, so no change there this week. Let's move on to number 3. With the Miles Lady Golden Bears, big win in terms of a rivalry game. They sit at 16-2, that should be 10-2 in terms of how they're moving, 54 points in terms of what looks like there, and that's 13-1, 15-2, I should say, in that 3 spot. Bringing us to number 2, which is coming out of the Sooner Athletic Conference at the NAIA level, the only NAIA program that's in the top 5, which are the Lady Lions of Langston. They sit at 16-2 and 10-2. They have 3 first-place votes, 63 points, and remain at the 2 spot because the Winston-Salem State Lady Rams just continue to win. All we do is win. They sit at 15-1, 6-0 in conference play out of the CIAA, 4 first-place votes, 65 points, number 1 rankings. It'll be interesting to see what people have to say this week, particularly after people have had a chance to sit around and think about it a little bit. Let's put it that way. Let me go with you, Wilton. Let you come up first. What are your thoughts in terms of top 5 in week number 3?
Man, looking at these top 5, I think that I feel like it's pretty much right. Fayetteville State, we know what they've been able to do. Edward Waters, the job that's been done there. Miles, again, perennial team that I expect to be there. But I do like them at number 3. Maybe you could go back and forth, maybe 2 to 3. Maybe putting them over Langston, but absolutely number 1 still remains at Winston-Salem. But again, I know Steve is probably somewhere listening to me. what I'm about to say, but they're about to take some interesting. They're about to have some interesting games. They got a game coming up on Wednesday against Claflin, and then of course on Saturday against Cavil State. That will give them some, obviously some conference tests. So do I think that they will lose one or two of those games? Not necessarily, but I do think it's going to be some good basketball. I think you're going to get some good matchups. You're talking about some of the top players and like Maya Charles and Ashari Lewis, like they are going to be going at it. So I'm excited for those matchups this week. We're going to learn a lot more about Winston-Salem, as if we haven't already learned a lot about them, but we're going to learn a lot more this week.
I like that. As you mentioned that, Claflin should be interesting, but when you talk about Fayetteville State, that brings us to a top 5 matchup. I always like to see those type of games when they come going, and it'll be fascinating to see what that looks like. When you talk about it, Fayetteville State will be at home against Winston-Salem State. So Winston-Salem State has to go on the road, which is always intriguing anytime you travel into inner territory. With that being said, top 5 matchup was the focus of Wilton. Charles, what direction are you going? What are your thoughts on the top 5 mid-major division for the women in week number 3?
No, I think it's interesting. I kind of agree with Wilton with regards to Miles possibly swapping out there with Langston. But overall, I like the top 5. I'm very impressed by Edward Waters. They've won 9 of their last 10 wins over Miles and Tuskegee. Huge one coming up this week against Lane. Lane's got a 4-game win streak going, so that'll be a good matchup this upcoming week. But I think for the most part, you take a look at the top 5, I think it's right in line, especially with regards to what Winston-Salem State is doing.
Since that was 2 of you all that talked about Miles Lady, maybe you flip it. Charles, I'm going to stick with you a little bit and ask you, what has you even contemplating maybe Miles should be in the 2 spot versus sitting at the 3 spot as we have him in the program?
Just overall what they've been able to do. I mentioned Edward Waters being 9-1, but Miles has been 9-1 over their last 10 as well. So I mean, they're just playing really good basketball. And you take a look at them overall, 16-2 on the season. But I think they're just a solid basketball team. Defensively, they get it done as well. So big win over Tuskegee this past week, but I think it's just a solid basketball team. Like year in, year out, you get a good program with regards to Miles.
Good stuff. I like the fact that you pointed off the rivalry win. That always makes a statement when you can do that, especially when Tuskegee playing really well as well. Mm-hmm. AD Drew, where are you in terms of the top 5?
I'm fundamentally happy 1 through 3. I mean, we splitting hairs 2 to 3. Leave it as it is. It'll play itself out. I think Fayetteville State should possibly be number 4 ahead of Edward Waters. But once again, we're splitting hairs with this. Your top 5 is not what I have my problem at, Dr. Cavil.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, uh-oh. Let's go all the way back. Let's go all the way back to this slide.
Oh, okay.
This is why I have my problem.
Talk to me.
I don't see Claflin.
I mentioned him.
I don't see Lane.
He did.
I don't see Lane. And here's the one. I don't see Arkansas Baptist. Do you know Arkansas Baptist women have beaten every HBCU AC opponent that they have played this year?
Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Arkansas Baptist women are 11-3 overall. And they've played a couple of the Division Ones. Now, of course, we know what that was about. We're not counting those games. But they have, and when I say they have beaten everybody, y'all, we're talking about double digits. All of these opponents. Tougaloo, 74-50, where Philander Smith was a forfeit. Russ, 60-48. Point. They're not an HBCU. 83-72. They beat somebody 112-61. So I know a lot of people even forgot they're even playing NAIA ball. A lot of people don't even realize they became a 4-year school a few years ago. But the fact that they should at least be somewhere on this page, Dr. Cavil.
I agree with you. Great point made. Great point made there. I have to keep our eyes on where they're going. And the other ones you pointed out in terms of Claflin as well. Good information in terms of Lane in terms of top 5. But we focus on the top 5. But it's first time in a while as receiving votes. I kind of like that. Interesting. And I hear you, Wilton. Wilton say I did point him out.
I mean, Winston-Salem got a matchup against them this week.
They could respect their way in with a dub.
Yeah. You get that upset over number 1. That's gonna go a long way until you jumping up there.
Yeah,
it's fascinating. You see it really on the men's side in terms of basketball. The poll on Thursday is gonna be ridiculous in terms of all the movement. We can't get any read on what's taking place, but it's interesting because you got to keep your eyes on these games. A little smoother in terms on the women's side, in terms of who's kind of separating themselves. But I think the games of the week, as you all pointed out, are going to be in the CIAA, Fayetteville State, Claflin versus Winston. Those matchups would be fascinating. I think it played that way last week in the SIC. They happen to be the rivalry type matchups, but as you see with the superlatives, some people made a statement. With that, let's take our next break and come back on the other side, and let's do just that. Let's get into the major division. We'll do major division for the women, top 5, right after this break.
This is Ryan Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
From cancer care to accidental injuries to cardiac care, we all know that there are times that you can't control what happens in your life. But with Globe Life Family Heritage, you can be prepared to weather the storm when it comes. Call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com. With over 25 years of serving communities, Dr. Beverly Eagles Rogers is here to help you and your family through difficult times. Dr. Beverly takes pride in Globe Life being one of the few companies that returns 100% of premiums to clients that stay healthy. So for more information, call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com.
To these colleges, and we have to compress the analytic data with the hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they want a lot, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
It's Dr. Cavil inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. Mike Washington is out on assignment. You see Charles Bishop with his thinking, hand gesture. We have Wilton Jackson II, the professor, about ready to put in some work. We have AD Drew that is going into the nooks and crannies to give some love to teams, particularly Arkansas Baptist. I appreciate that. Shout out to the Buffalo over there getting it done in Arkansas. He said have an anointing. Okay. Let's bring it on. Let's get into the top 5 for the major division under the women in week number 3. Let's see how things are starting to shake out.
Lenny, you stupid.
Going. Hey, let me do the show before you have me cracking up like that. And right now is not a good time to call in the feds. Let's not do that. I get your point, but let's not go there. We not too comfortable with that going on. There was a team that dropped out this week. Tough road trip. Texas Southern Tigers fall to 4-2. Still playing some good basketball, but it pushes them out of the top 5. Let's see in terms of those receiving votes. Get into the mix a little bit here. And that should actually be that should be Texas Southern. The Tigers there sitting at 4-2, 38. You got Howard Bison kind of rebounding a little bit. They sit at 3-1, 32 points. Florida A&M Rattlers, the women's basketball program, playing some good basketball, 3-2. Arkansas Pine Bluff, the Golden Lions sit at 3-3. Alabama State Hornets sit at was 2-3, but we had an update. They sit at 2-3 in terms of that matchup. Let's get into the top 5 as we get it going. At number 5, Alcorn State Braves, 4-1, 49 points. Not ranked last week, but as they continue to play good basketball, got the win over Texas Southern. Does enough to push Texas Southern out and push them inside the top 5. Credit to them. 49 points. They're on their way. At number 4, Norfolk State Spartans. Just when you want to knock them out, they said, hold on. They're in the mix, sitting at 3-1 out of the MEAC, 61 points. Previous ranked 3, they do fall a spot, but they stay in the top 5. Bring us to number 3. Alabama A&M Bulldogs had that early loss, kind of riding them out. Obviously, riding the ship and had a big win. Close matchup against Alabama State, but they win going down the stretch, which I'm sure the coach was proud in terms of the way they finished that game. They do have one first-place vote sitting at 4-1, 6-1, moving up a spot from 4, looking really well this season. Then you have number 2. Southern Jaguars had that quote-unquote upset, but they've been rolling ever since, 4-1. More importantly for them, they got the big win on the road against Grambling and pushed it hard as they got it done. One first-place vote, 74 points, sitting in the 2 spot, remaining very solid here. Surprise of this year, even Lennon is calling for an investigation. The Eastern Shore Hawks sit at 4-0. Out of the MEAC in 6 first-place votes, 78 points, playing really good basketball. They are number 1, remain number 1 in terms of the week. When you look at that, let's just go into it. I'm going to go to you first, AD Drew. What are your thoughts in terms of the top 5 for the major division this week in week number 3?
I really don't have nothing to say on this one, but just for conversation purposes,
go ahead.
Could we flip Alcorn and Norfolk? Just to put it out there for a conversation piece.
Yeah.
Really, outside of that, Dr. Cavil, that's the only thing that I have. You know, you could possibly talk about flipping those 2, but I'm good with it though.
I like that when you talk about that matchup. Let me go to you, Charles. Where are you in terms of the top 5 in week number 3?
Yeah, I think the job Nate Kilbert is doing at Alcorn. I think that's huge. I mean, I was really paying attention to the game against Texas Southern, and to limit Texas Southern only 51 points, that was huge. This is one of the top scoring teams in the SWAC. And I was talking to a coach today, and it was like, you know, same Nate Kilbert offense, motion offense. They backdoor you to death. They run those split screens at the top of the key, and they get some good and easy looks. But Alcorn is playing some really good basketball. That inexplicable loss I think they had to Alabama A&M, where Alabama A&M blew them out. But overall, they've been playing really good basketball. But you take a look at it, Norfolk State continues to be right where they are. Alabama A&M, another season in which they are again one of the top defensive teams in the SWAC. And then they added Jada Belton, transfer from Texas Southern. And she's one of the top rebounders from Texas Southern. Now she's doing the same thing for Alabama A&M. That makes them a little bit more formidable. And then when you take a look at Southern, they just continue to do what they do. They don't have a top scorer that's, 14, 15, 16 points a game. Their leading scorer is averaging 10. And they just get consistent scoring, and they always are in the upper echelon with regards to top 3 in the league in terms of defense. But Southern continues to get it done, and you can't say enough about Maryland Eastern Shore. they stick out like a sore thumb up there at number 1.
You talk about that Alabama A&M win over Alcorn. That's 76-34. So yeah, that's an odd one out. might be one reason they pushed down a little bit, but Norfolk State doesn't have, has that loss as well. When you look at them, before I go to you, Jackson, Wilton, and ask you your thoughts on it. When you think about Norfolk State, they have that loss as well in terms of their schedule. What are your thoughts in the top 5?
So I like the top 5. I do have some concerns. Number one, with Maryland Eastern Shore, that's perfect. Like, I mean, they are pretty much dominant. Like Lennon said, like we might need to investigate both teams or whatever just to see what's going on. Maybe not right now, but they look absolutely good. Seriously, I'm very serious. They look good. Charles didn't leave much meat on the bone talking about Southern Alabama A&M, but I mean, Southern is who we think that they are. Even after they lost to FAMU, they've still been able to bounce back. And I absolutely expect them to be the team that we expect them to be with Coach Funches. Like, we know that they're going to be there. Alabama A&M, seeing them bounce back after their loss to Mississippi Valley, I'm glad about that, because at first I was worried. I was like, are we going to push the Bulldogs on the ledge, or like they still in the business of basketball?
Ask a Rattler what Mississippi Valley could do to your reputation.
Oh, I know. I've seen with my own eyes.
And you know what? Yeah, real quick, shout out to Valley. They're already at 3 wins in conference play. They had 6 all of last season, but I've got a chance to look at them up close. That's a good team.
Yo, no, they are. Norfolk State, I'm okay with them as well, even though they've had that loss. So here's my issue.
All right.
Alcorn,
say you were flowing. I was like, what are you get to this issue?
Alcorn lost to Alabama A&M the way that they did.
Yes.
So in my mind, I know one of the teams that received votes that y'all may disagree with me on is Howard, that I think that they could still be in this. The only reason I say that is because, again, we're getting to that point where, like, okay, we've had roughly 3 weeks into conference play. You want to start talking about net rankings. Not that it's the super biggest thing right now, but I'm just saying, like, when you look at the net rankings for women's basketball, Howard is still near the top. So with that, when you look at who they played in conference play, you got South Carolina State, they won. Delaware State, they won. Their only loss right now is Maryland Eastern Shore. So could you potentially, not saying it has to be this way, could you potentially make a case for Howard versus Alcorn, considering they got blasted by Alabama A&M?
I think you could, depending on how you look at it. That loss to Maryland East Shore was a 6-point loss, but you have South Carolina State. Win was by 4. It was on the road.
Yeah.
It's interesting how they played so well outside of conference net ranking, but they've had their challenges in conference. They did not roll around. Their biggest win in conference was over Delaware State by 10.
Right.
Central, that struggled a little bit, only 8-point win, but a win is a win. So it's fascinating to see, do you look at the gap between Alabama and A&M and you just throw that out, one loss, or do you say, hey, which direction? So let me ask you this, Wilton, since you brought that up. It's a good point. Where are you going in terms of the conference?
As far as
strong play in the SWAC or strong play in the MEAC, where are you with that?
It's tough this year. It is. Like, it really is. In a previous year, I would have probably said MEAC, but this year it's tough. It's more parity on both sides.
Yeah. That win against Texas Southern is impressive to me.
Yep.
I mean, Texas Southern averaged 66 points a game, and they limited them to 51. And Talia Logwood didn't. I mean, it looks like she got in foul trouble, but she can score. So they kept her off. Kept her off the scoreboard there.
Can I ask y'all a question that Brian asked me on the show on Sunday?
Mm-hmm.
Maryland Eastern Shore, top of the MEAC right now, men and women, undefeated or both. Your prediction today: either, neither, or both win the regular season of the MEAC.
Now that's a good question, Charles.
Maryland Eastern Shore. Either men and women, both sitting in first place right now. Either, neither, or both wind up winning the MEAC.
Neither.
Men and women.
Neither.
You said what? Neither.
Yeah.
Will.
Man, that's tough, boy. I take my chances, and I'm glad this is a week-to-week thing. I take my chances with the women versus the men.
Either. So you're going with either. Doc? You can't.
Yeah, I
sit
know
back
you
and-
gonna come to me. I tried to slide out of it. I'm gonna go with the women.
All right.
I like Hill over there, but it's gonna be hard to win that MEAC on the men's side. I think we've seen some shakiness. We know Norfolk State is not like they usually are. New coach has them playing good basketball, but a lot of new people in the mix going down the stretch would that hurt them. And then you have Howard. Yes, they played really well, but they haven't done anything convincing.
Travis won't let me make it.
Just for transparency, Dr. Cavil, we gonna be tied 2-2 on this panel because I said neither, just like Charles did on the show side.
Let me give you what the Maryland Eastern Shore has done since Travis is acting up. We're going Maryland Eastern Shore 68-61 over Morgan State. Yep. That was at home. Maryland Eastern Shore over Norfolk State on the road 63-60.
Yep.
They beat Howard at home 62-56. And they had a rivalry game against Cavil State. Won that one in overtime 68-61. A little closer. So it's going to be fascinating. That means they got Norfolk State. As you said in the mix, they'll have them.
And Howard has Copper State.
They'll have them at home at the second half of the season. And then they travel to Howard.
Nah, he ain't lying.
Let's go, lab listeners. Good point. Good question. So what did, before we close out this segment, which direction did Brian go?
He didn't answer.
He gonna tell you he gonna do that. Take the next break, last break, and come back and we'll talk about some of these key matchups coming up this week. Get on, Brian, man.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. Whether you're a student or a lifelong supporter, our gear lets you wear your HBCU story with confidence and style. Because when you wear HBCU Image, you're not just wearing clothes. You're wearing culture. You're wearing pride. You're wearing purpose. HBCU Image, a Kenny T's company.
From cancer care to accidental injuries to cardiac care, we all know that there are times that you can't control what happens in your life. But with Globe Life Family Heritage, you can be prepared to weather the storm when it comes. Call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com. With over 25 years of serving communities, Dr. Beverly Eagles Rogers is here to help you and your family through difficult times. Dr. Beverly takes pride in Globe Life being one of the few companies that returns 100% of premiums to clients that stay healthy. So for more information, call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
So we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, authentic Caribbean cuisines.
Open up the door, tell them mama hungry.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Bill with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Charles Bishop, Wilton Jackson II, AD Drew, The professors in the building for the last segment of the show. Let's talk about a little bit of some of these matchups. We got a chance to tease out some mid-major games, particularly from the CIAA. Let me ask Drew, any SIAC games, particularly on the women's side, that has your interest before we talk about the major division?
Let me bring up my SIAC page. While I bring that up, Dr. Cavil, all these games that we talk about, especially the Saturday matchups, let's make sure we take them with a grain of salt because there's some weather that's supposed to come across the southeast on this weekend. So some of these Saturday games may get moved that we are going to talk about. So everybody make sure you stay vigilant when it comes.
Stay safe as much as possible, no doubt. If you don't have to be on the road and gets to those type of conditions, stay off the road, find a way to try to stay as warm as possible.
Right.
Be careful how you heat your house as well.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Drew.
Yeah. Last thing on that. And although the weather may be good in your area, don't forget a team has to travel in and travel back out. So that may be the reason why your game gets postponed, not because of how the weather is in your particular city.
Starting off, get to you, or can they get out of it? Is
exactly
the things that trouble you.
Yeah. Starting off in the SIAC on Thursday, we've got two primetime matchups, Dr. Cavil, in the SIAC on the women's side. We've got Miles traveling to Clark. Miles first place in the West, Clark second place in the East. And then you've got Lane traveling to Edward Waters on Thursday. So two primetime matchups on Thursday.
Lane gets the chance to make a statement.
Yeah.
Based on what y'all said there, featuring a top 5 team. You talking about some of the best ways to get in the top 5, take down the top 5.
Right. And on Saturday, Dr. Cavil, our sexiest matchup in the SIAC is going to be Tuskegee traveling to Clark, Atlanta. So Clark with two primetime matchups this weekend.
They get a chance to make a statement.
And one more, just for the hell of it. We talked about it last week, everybody, with Miles, Tuskegee, Morehouse, Clark, Atlanta.
Yes.
Well, in a special Sunday matchup after church, wear your big hats, bring your bag of chicken, because Albany State and Fort Valley battle on Sunday this week. So maybe not record wise, but one again, that's just one of those atmospheres you have to experience, everybody.
Oh yeah, it doesn't matter what the record is; they're gonna get it on. It's bragging rights in that part of the world.
Quickly flip it over to the CIAA tomorrow night. Claflin hosts Winston-Salem. So the Fighting Steve Gators will get their chance against the Panthers on the road. On the women's side, that's Fayetteville and Livingstone. Those two get together. That's always one of those type matchups that you want to pay attention to. Saturday, boy, Winston-Salem. Y'all can solidify this number 1 ranking this week because Saturday they have Fayetteville State. So and that's on the road also. So that's another one of those games where you can put it together. How about Johnson C. Livingstone on Saturday is another good one. Last one, Claflin travels to Shaw Saturday. So those are your great matchups in there. And I'm gonna let you get to the Division 1. I'll close out with the HBCU AC.
Good stuff. Let me give a shout out to Stephen Gaither and AD Drew to make sure that we keep updates on the mid-major divisions. Shout out to Wilton Jackson's second. And also make sure that they get in the mix. You all do marvelous work in terms of making sure that we get a chance to shine the light on our mid-major programs. And thanks, Charles, for always putting in the data points to make sure we recognize, particularly with those accolades from weekly rankings. Good stuff, weekly accolades in terms of those players of the week. Let's go to the major division. Talk about some key matchups. We'll start in the MEAC. Let me let you know what's going on Thursday. As we said earlier, the MEAC has adjusted their schedule. SWAC jumped out there last year to start with these Thursday showcase games, as I like to call them. The MEAC has moved to it this year. So Thursday is all about the women, both in the SWAC and MEAC at the major divisional level. Fascinating to see how that goes. Morgan State is at Norfolk State on Thursday, Charles. Maryland Eastern Shore is at Central Wilton. We have Delaware State at South Carolina State, AD Drew. And then you have Howard at Coppin. And then on Saturday, you have Delaware State at Central, Morgan State at Howard, Maryland Eastern Shore at South Carolina State, Coppin State is at Norfolk. Always fascinating because of the shorter distance where you don't necessarily, you see the 2-game series, but they're home and away over a weekend versus you getting 2 games at home, if you would. Always fascinating to see how that plays out. But of those matchups, Thursday or Saturday, or a couple of them, starting with you, Charles, anything comes out to you on the MEAC side? Anything has your interest?
Interestingly enough, Maryland Eastern Shore going down to Orangeburg. That one has piqued my curiosity.
Nice.
I think that'll be a pretty good one. And then I think taking a look at Saturday as well, Coppin and Norfolk State. So I'm curious about those two.
Okay. Wilton, what's on your mind for the MEAC? Anything captures your attention that you want us to keep an eye on?
That matchup on Thursday with Howard and Coppin State, I think that's going to be a really intriguing matchup to see how Howard does against Coppin State. And then the Saturday matchup to watch out for sure would be Coppin State and Norfolk State.
Yeah.
So you see something about Coppin State, huh?
Yeah.
Turn your head a little bit. AD Drew, what about you for the MEAC?
I want to look at it as in totality. And at the MEAC, if you look at the standings, we pretty much have the top half of the conference playing the bottom half of the conference this week after early action. So will we start seeing separation or will we start seeing a cluster? That's what I'm going to be interested in seeing after these results these 2 days, everybody.
Good points. Let me give you some updates on the Tennessee State before I ask you your breakdown on the SWAC. Just to put this out here, you have Tennessee State at Southern SIUE, Evansville, if you would. And then on Saturday, you have Tennessee State at Lindenwood. So they're on the road this week. If you pop into the Coastal, looking at Hampton and Howard, you have Hampton hosting Campbell on Friday. And then A&T traveling to Elon on Friday as well, which means Sunday, the wraparound, you have A&T at Charleston, while you have Hampton hosting Elon, if you would, in terms of the CAA. All the teams there are struggling a little bit this year. A&T is not up to the mix as they were last year. But let's go to the SWAC for the Thursday night matchup, Thursday show. We will be in the H&PE building, give you a live look in for that show. Charles will be on the mic, if you would. We'll see if we can bring him in coming out of the halftime to give his highlights in terms of what he's actually seen since he's calling the game. We'll tease that out a little bit. We're thinking about bringing Dave. Dave is going to try to be in the building to give us some updates and give his independent look in. So we'll do that on Thursday. But with that being said, Thursday's matchups are as follows. We have Alcorn State at Bethune-Cookman, Jackson State at FAMU, Mississippi Valley State at Southern, Alabama State at Texas Southern, Alabama A&M at Prairie View, Arkansas Pine Bluff at Grambling. Since there's so many games, I'm going to let you look at Thursday first, see if, and then we'll flip and say Saturday and give you another dab at it and see what changes your mind. So let's take a look in at Thursday. 80 Drew, what has your focus for the SWAC on Thursday?
Give me just a second because I was looking up some other stuff. Yeah. SWAC Thursday. Oh, come on now, Dr. Cavil. Are you serious? You actually gonna ask me that question?
It's my job.
I'm gonna play Captain Obvious on this one. FAMU Jackson.
When I read it, I knew where you were going.
If FAMU Jackson is definitely number one on my list, and No, y'all say I'll never leave it to meat on the bone, so I'm going to not pick my number 2 game. But with that FAMU, Jackson say, hey, can FAMU continue on this road that they have continued on, or will we start seeing the Jackson State that we have traditionally seen over the last decade? That's what I'm looking at in that matchup.
Yes, just for those that don't realize it, FAMU comes in conference play at 3-2, while Jackson State comes in at 2-3, which means FAMU is one game back out of the top spot, which is 3. Alabama A&M, Southern, and Alcorn at all sit at 4-1. You have Jackson State 2 games back or 1 game back of FAMU. So it is intriguing from that perspective. Wilton, what direction are you going in terms of your Thursday matchup?
So beyond the Jackson State game, I would keep an eye on Mississippi Valley and Southern. Now, some people might say, "Oh, this
All right,
this
y'all.
nah, this not the same Mississippi Valley women's basketball team. They've already had that big win upset over Alabama A&M. So, can the Delta Devils find a way to get another marquee win against an elite SWAC team, specifically
particularly on the road? To your point, I like
exactly. Yep.
Charles, I see he stole your thunder. You gonna stick with that one, or you want another one you want to point out since he jumped in?
It's another one he could choose.
There is one more out
He
there.
got Valley Southern. I think Texas Southern's gonna be marquee this week, so I'm gonna go Alabama State, Texas Southern.
Interesting. I like that one. For those that forgot, Janetta Hayes previously coached Texas Southern. She got the team right after Cynthia Cooper left. I had the team in the mix there, went off, left HBCU basketball for a little while, but now she's back in HBCU, not only HBCU, but she's in the SWAC over at Alabama State. So that makes that matchup a little more interesting. I think Wilton may be going in that direction, but he might have had another one on his mind. But let's go to Saturday and see what jumps out on you. We have Jackson State at Bethune-Cookman, Alabama A&M at Texas Southern, Mississippi Valley State at Grambling, Alabama State at Prairie View, Arkansas Pine Bluff at Southern, Alcorn State at FAMU. Boy, you talking about Prairie View. They have it tough. They're 0-6, and they got those teams coming in. Boy, it could start to look long down there at Prairie View. You come out of the first half 0-8 with your next matchup being at Texas Southern for your rival. You talking about the first half being 0-9. Ooh-wee. That's not the way you want to start first year coach.
Mm-hmm.
With that being said,
you want to make Charles, him become your second year coach.
Right. Charles, where are you in this?
Saturday, Alabama A&M and Texas Southern.
Shut the door.
Shut the door, yeah.
I see why you calling that one. That should be some fun.
Yep.
A lot of lathered up in there in terms of what that looks like. That might get some interest on the men's side as well. Wilton, it looks like you're in agreement. Is that the game you're looking at, or are you going to add a different one as well?
I'm going to add a different one, too. Keep an eye on that Alcorn State and FAMU game, too.
Go.
That should be fun.
Yep.
I like that. That should be fun. 80 Drew, since he took your FAMU matchup this time, which direction are you going to go?
I'm going UAPB Southern there. I think that's going to also be a good one. Southern, first place, UAPB in the basketball business once again, especially on the women's side. So I'm thinking that was a good one. And UAPB has had a way of sneaking and getting some of these victories against top teams in the past couple of years. So I'm really intrigued about that one.
I like the way you pointed out, and I agree with you. Pine Bluff has been fascinating in terms of the victories that they got. Some of them will make you scratch your head. But the fact that they have the ability to play at that level, they're going to be focused. Be interesting to see what that looks like. Great call, gentlemen, in terms of breaking down women's basketball for week number 3, looking at the mid-major and major division. We'll come back Thursday. For those that are able to join, and we'll talk a little bit about the men's side as we're giving you some updates on the women's basketball games that are going on. So check us out on Thursday. With that being said, we do have the independent show tomorrow. Maybe keep a look at it. They may have some challenges, but at this schedule, it's scheduled to go on. AD?
I want quickly in the HBCU AC, a couple of matchups this week to focus on. Arkansas Baptist and Russ tomorrow night. Russ going back to back. They've got Talladega on Thursday, and those are two of the top teams in the HBCU AC right now. Houston Tillotson goes to Philander Smith on Thursday also, so that's another one we want to keep our eyes out on. Just kind of going down Saturday, Steelman Talladega. That's another one of those rival games that you just have to be in presence, and it does help when both those teams tend to win. So those are some of the good matchups that you have in the HBCU AC this particular weekend. Just for kicks and grins, everybody, since they are in our top 5, Langston this weekend. And I know y'all haven't heard of these schools, but I'm just going to put them out there. They play Panhandle State on Thursday.
I have.
That is in Goodwill, Oklahoma, for those of you all in the area. And they play Wayland Baptist, and that's 6 o'clock Central Time. They play Wayland Baptist on Saturday. That's 2 o'clock Central Time, and that's in Plainview, Texas. Well, I don't know where Plainview is versus Clouded View, but
no doubt. In case you're in that area, you can go check out your HBCU basketball with Langston. Yeah. And the fact is, they are playing some good basketball. That'll do it for us today. Thank you for listening inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Make sure you share our podcast with your friends and colleagues. I am Dr. Cavil, the Dean of HBCU Sports, coming from inside the lab in the College of HBCU Sports with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop, Wilton Jackson, the second AD Drew. Shout out to all the lab listeners, giving us all the energy we need to get through the show. Again, we want to thank you for listening to Dr. Bill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Watch, Charles Bishop, every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. We will be back in H&P building, giving you some live looking for the basketball. Should be some interesting matchups. We'll keep it focused. It's the middle of note. Great answer. Now we look forward to next week as we discuss the latest news in the lab. Follow me, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil. That's DrKenyattaCavil. That's Threads, Facebook, Instagram. DrKenyattaCavil. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab 1 on Facebook. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab on YouTube. Dream big. Continue to move forward. We will talk with you soon. As I said, and I will continue to say at the end of the show, be safe. Make sure you are taking care in focusing on what information is out there. Just do not read everything and take it what it is. Take your deeper dive, stay focused, and be safe. It's a time to make sure that you're reading and understanding what is taking place around you, in the world, and right here in your backyard. With that being said, Charles?
Of course.
Wilton?
Lecture.
AD?
Dismissed.